One area I think where in our broader category of strong bidding, strong hands that we're focusing on these first few weeks is reverse versus jump shift. In terms of shape, they're very similar, right? If we make a jump shift, we typically would open our longest suit, and then we would jump shift in a suit that was equal length or shorter, right? But we would always start with our longest suit. So reverses and jump shifts have that in common. Strength-wise, they are pretty similar. We said the reverse shows at least 17. A jump shift, we usually like to say 18. That's not to say that you might not have some really nice 17 counts with good playing strength that you would jump shift with. But one of the key differences is that the reverse is a one-round force and jump shift is a game force. So ultimately, while a reverse can be as good of a jump shift, it doesn't have to be. And when you reverse, you are allowed to stop below game. It may not happen that often, but you're allowed to stop below game. Once you commit to a jump shift, your side must go on to game, and responder cannot pass a bid below the game level. So that is one of your key differences. Jump shift forcing all the way to game, reverse forcing for one round, and we usually end up in game, but it could be that you had a minimum reverse, that you just have your 17 and maybe responder just has 6 or 7 and you're not quite there and you don't have a good fit, and so you might stop below game. Anybody have any questions about those differences? Your reverse and your jump shift are mutually exclusive. You're doing one or you're doing the other.
So we can't do them both at the same time, Kurt?
You can try. Well, so if you were trying to combine the two, I guess we would call that a jump reverse, right? But there's the thing is that's just it. And when I see, and I've noticed that a lot of people don't seem to have an agreement. Sometimes I see a jump reverse, and that's because somebody doesn't understand that they can just reverse, and they think they have to jump shift, and what they have done is jump reverse, right? In other words, if we were to see an auction like that, now when I see that, and I suspect that the person who did it may not entirely know what they're doing, I think that they're probably just intending to make a game forcing jump shift. That's usually what they're trying to do. But you don't have to do that. That's just it. This is where a reverse is a little nicer than a jump shift. You don't have to eat up that bidding space unnecessarily, because if you want to show clubs and hearts and make a forcing bid, you don't have to jump. That's the nice thing about the reverse. Why go flying up there to 3 hearts and eating up all your bidding space when you can get the job done with 2 hearts? And that's, like I said, if you see that auction, it's typically, it's typically because people don't realize that they have a forcing bid, a cheaper forcing bid available. I don't want to get into it today. I will say that this type of thing is often played conventionally and not necessarily the same way. There's not necessarily a standard way. So I wouldn't worry too much about this auction, and I would try not to have that auction if you don't have an agreement. To give you an example, I play that as an unspecified splinter. That's a min. So I play this as a spade raise. And I've already opened a club, so I have to have clubs, right? So I actually play that as artificial, and it's partner, I can't force the game, but I've got a good hand, and I've got either a singleton diamond or a singleton heart. And then if your partner is interested in knowing where the shortness is, they can ask. Or if they're not interested in being game, they're really weak, they can sign off at 3 spades. So that's the kind of treatment that would be available to you there if you wanted it. But that's not that. Like I said, that is not universal. The question is, how many times? This Atlas coffee over here is really good. I really like them. I need to tell them they have a cup problem. As soon as their hot drinks get that top rim, that waxy rim, as soon as it gets saturated with coffee, the cup starts to fail. So I tell you that so that as I spill on myself during the lecture today, I mean, not that I'm not clumsy, but I'm just, I'm gonna dribble coffee on myself, periodically for the next, hour and a half here. And you're like, boy, he's really got a drinking problem.
My coffee.
Did you transfer it to one of their cups?
It's a good idea.
Yeah, I had to do that last time. Maybe I'll do that
We can.
So reverses. Let's look at a couple of examples. And again, we typically expect, normally we expect you to have about 17 for a reverse. If you have compensating distribution, you can reverse with fewer than 17 high card points. And Denise and I were actually just looking at a hand before class started today, where we're kind of on the fence, like, well, is it a reverse? Is it not? That's a judgment call that you have to make on some of these hands. This would be kind of the classic minimum reverse. Might look something like this. So you have 17 points, and your shape is exactly 2-4-2-5. And so if you open a club and partner bids a spade, can you show your hearts? With this hand, yes, you can, because you're good enough to reverse. And even if partner has to, or wants to try and take a weak preference to clubs on a hand like this, if your side wanted to sign off at 3 clubs, because remember, you are not forced to game, and when we get into responders bids, we'll talk about, okay, how do you get out in 3 clubs if that's what you want to do. But even if your partner had only 6 points and 3 card club support, would you feel generally comfortable in 3 clubs? I mean, no guarantee it's going to make, but you're probably in an okay spot, right? Give partner 6 points. Give partner the king of spades and the king of clubs. Let's say that's your partner's hand. Maybe king fourth of spades since they bid a spade. Let's say dummy looks something like that. I mean, that's a pretty much a dead minimum response, right?
Yeah.
Well, how do you feel about playing 3 clubs on this hand? You're probably going to make 4, right? You're probably going to lose a couple diamonds and the ace of hearts. If something really bad happens and a suit breaks badly or there's an unexpected ruff, maybe the defense takes one more trick. So while this is a hand that we don't necessarily want to be in game with our 23 points, and look, even 3-no is very close to having play here, right? Now they might cash 4 diamonds and the ace of hearts to beat 3-no, but it's not far off, is it? If we look at it in terms of winners, you say, well, 5 club winners, 2 spade winners, can set up a couple of heart winners. It's not quite there, but it's close, right? You're probably good for about 8 tricks and no trump. If you're really lucky, maybe a diamond spot sets up or the diamond suit gets blocked or something strange like that. So, the idea is if you've got, even with a minimum reverse with this 17 count, that even if partner has responded pretty light, you should have an okay place to play. Like any other hand, it might be a horrid misfit. And maybe you don't have a great place to play. Now, you can have more than this for your reverse, right? And if you do, what if that is your hand? Do you want to force the game with that hand? Because now you have 20, right? And partner responded, so partner has 6. So we should have 26 points. We should probably be in a game somewhere. Now 3-no looks pretty good, at least if it, on a diamond lead even, coming in to your king, which might set up a trick for you. I would definitely want to be in 3-0 on these cards. And still worthwhile to bid out your shape. You might look at a hand like this and say, well, I have 20 and I don't have a singleton. Could I open 2-0? Yeah, you could, but I think I would rather, bid out my pattern so that I can get my long suits in. Give partner a better picture of what the hand looks like. By the way, and I don't remember if we looked at a hand like this. What would your plan be for a hand like this? You're the dealer. You have to open that hand.
You could open one now.
All right, so if you open one club and partner bids a spade, I would ask you, what are you going to do next? Can you reverse? You're not strong enough, right?
No.
You're only 15 highs.
So you lie again. This is a game of liars.
So you open one no trap.
All right. If you're opening a club and partner bids a spade and your thought is, well, I'll rebid a no trump. Well, if you're intending to bid no trump, you actually have 15, right? Your no trump rebid is 12 to 14. If you're already looking at no trump possibly on the horizon, because frankly, if you open this hand to club, your only easy second bid is if partner responds a heart, right? Well, partner could bid a diamond and then you could bid one heart. That would still be fairly comfortable. But anytime partner were to bid a spade or a no trump in response to a club opening, you're kind of giving yourself a problem, right? Well, it is okay to open a no trump when you're 5-4-2-2. It's not perfect, but if you have a hand like that, and we typically see this with like a 5-card minor and 4 hearts. This is where we normally see this, because this is the hand that creates a problem. At least get your point count right. I would always open this hand to no trump, because at least partner knows I have 15 to 17. And you are basically balanced.
Even with two
Doubletons, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you've got a plan. You've got a plan for the potential rebid problem, and it's not perfect. I'm not saying start opening all of your 5-4-2-2 hands and no trump when you're in the range, because a lot of times you don't need to. If you have a 4-card spade suit, you often have an easy rebid, right? A club, a heart, a spade. A club, a diamond, a spade. You can come back and bid a spade. That's not a problem. This typically occurs when you are either 5-card minor and 4 hearts, or you could be 5-4 in the minors, right? We talked about that sometimes being a hard hand to bid earlier on. Do I open a diamond with 4 and rebid a 5-card club suit and some of those? You can solve some of those problems too by opening a no trump. 9 cards in the minors and doubletons in both majors. So again, not perfect, but
You can lie.
huh? Yeah.
You can.
But as I said, this game is often about, it's the smallest lie theory. Because you're just, you're going to pick up a number of hands that will just not fit neatly into our standard bidding structure. How would you deal with a hand like this? And I suspect, I'm sure a couple people in this room have asked about this kind of auction before. It's one of the most common questions I get. So you have 15 high card points, but this hand has pretty good playing strength, right? In a suit, in one of our long suits, we hope. So you basically got 6 solid clubs and you have 5 hearts. Well, what do you do with this hand?
Are you gonna do a reverse?
2 weeks.
I know, but
But you don't
Alright.
have very many.
So what would be, and we're looking at 2 possible openings, right? We could open our longest suit and our best suit, which is clubs. We could open a heart because we do have a 5-card major. Which should we do?
yeah, but then if you open a heart and then you bid your clubs, they're gonna think, okay, she has 5 hearts and 4 clubs, or you're sitting there with 6 clubs.
Right. So if you open a heart, you're going to have a very hard time conveying to partner that you have a great 6-card club suit. Now, that may not be all that relevant if you find a heart fit right away on the auction. But if partner doesn't have a heart fit with you, now you might be, you might regret that you hadn't gotten your clubs into the bidding sooner, right? I mean, because that's pretty much a self-sufficient suit. I mean, that's a club suit that can play opposite a small singleton or a void as a trump suit. On the other hand, if you open a club, partner's not going to think that you have a 5-card major, right? Then that gets to be difficult that way. So when we are 6-5 and our 6-card suit is the minor, unless we cannot stomach a reverse, we should be opening the minor. And there's a plan. This hand is worth a reverse. It's only 15 high card points, but it's got great playing strength. If you're looking at it in terms of losers, it's actually only a 4-loser hand, right? So as long as we can play in one of our suits, as long as we can get to a halfway decent fit, we should be in a good spot. So the plan is, now what if the auction starts off this way? So we go and open a club, say partner bids a spade, and we come back 2 hearts. So right now, at this point, partner thinks that we have 5 clubs and 4 hearts and 17 points, right? Partner thinks this is the standard reverse. Well, it looks a little different than that. All right. Now partner's forced to bid. Well, what does partner do? Okay, let's say partner rebids 2 spades. The way we finish showing this hand is we have to bid the hearts again. Now you are essentially, you're pretty much forcing the game, right? That's okay. I mean, you could stop at 3 hearts or I don't know, I really feel like partner needs to bid again here. I don't think partner can pass 3 hearts. Theoretically, you could stop at 4 clubs if partner took a preference there. But you probably want to take a shot at game. I mean, we can see game with not a whole lot of help from partner. So that's the tricky thing about this kind of hand. is that for you to fully pattern out, it takes 3 bits. And it goes minor, major, major.